Picture this, a vast, windswept desert where the whispers of ancient traders still echo through the sands. A place where caravans laden with silk, spices, and secrets once moved like shadows under the sun, connecting empires and shaping the world as we know it. This is the Silk Road, a network of trade routes that stretched thousands of miles, linking the East and West for centuries. But what if I told you that beneath its storied surface lies a treasure trove of mysteries, secrets so astonishing they've been hidden in the folds of history? Secrets that could rewrite what we thought we knew about this legendary route. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of the Silk Road to uncover 30 of its most fascinating, lesser-known truths. From lost cities swallowed by the desert to forgotten languages that once bridged cultures, each secret holds a piece of the puzzle that is the Silk Road. So buckle up, because this journey is about to take you through time, across continents, and into the shadows of history itself. By the end of this video, you'll see the Silk Road in a whole new light, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single revelation. Let's begin. Now, let's step into the sands of time and uncover the first secret of the Silk Road, the lost city of Loulan. Nestled in what is now the desolate expanse of the Taklamakan Desert, Loulan was once a thriving oasis city, a vital hub for traders traveling between China and the West. Imagine a bustling marketplace where merchants from distant lands exchanged silk, spices, and stories under the shade of palm trees. But Loulan's prosperity was short-lived. Sometime around the 4th century, this vibrant city vanished, swallowed by the desert as if it had never existed. The reasons for its abandonment remain shrouded in mystery. Some believe a sudden shift in the climate dried up the rivers that sustained it, while others point to invasions or disease. Whatever the cause, Loulan became a ghost town, its secrets buried beneath the sands for centuries. Fast forward to the early 20th century, when archaeologists stumbled upon the ruins of Loulan. What they found was nothing short of astonishing. Among the crumbling walls and forgotten streets, they discovered remarkably preserved mummies, their features still intact after more than 1,000 years. These mummies, with their European-like features and intricate clothing, offered a glimpse into the diverse cultures that once thrived along the Silk Road. But perhaps the most haunting discovery was the evidence of Loulan's sudden demise: abandoned homes, unfinished meals, and tools left where they were last used. It's as if the entire city was frozen in time, a silent witness to a catastrophe we can only guess at. Loulan's story is a reminder of how fragile even the mightiest civilizations can be. It's a place where history whispers through the wind, urging us to uncover its secrets. And as we move forward on this journey, we'll see how Loulan is just the beginning of the Silk Road's many mysteries. Next, we'll set sail on the hidden pirate routes that once crisscrossed the seas, carrying treasures and tales of danger. But for now, let the lost city of Loulan linger in your mind, a testament to the enduring allure of the Silk Road. Now, let's shift our gaze from the sands of the desert to the vast, shimmering waters of the sea. While the Silk Road is often imagined as a network of dusty caravan trails, it also had a lesser-known counterpart, a maritime Silk Road that stretched across the oceans, connecting east and west in ways that were just as daring and dangerous. These hidden pirate routes were the lifeblood of trade for centuries, carrying not only goods but also stories of adventure, treachery, and untold riches. Picture this: massive ships laden with silk, spices, and precious gems, navigating treacherous waters teeming with pirates. These maritime routes, which extended from the coasts of China through the South China Sea, the Indian Ocean, and all the way to the Arabian Peninsula, were as vital as the land routes. But they were also far more perilous. Sailors faced not only the unpredictable wrath of the sea, but also the constant threat of pirate attacks. These pirates, often organized into powerful fleets, preyed on merchant ships, seizing their cargo and sometimes even taking the sailors themselves as captives. It was a high-stakes game of risk and reward, where fortunes could be made or lost in an instant. What's fascinating is how these pirate routes became an integral part of the Silk Road story. Pirates weren't just thieves, they were also traders. Many pirate crews would raid ships only to sell the stolen goods in bustling ports, creating a shadow economy that thrived alongside legitimate trade. Some even formed alliances with local rulers, offering protection in exchange for a share of the profits. This complex web of piracy and trade added another layer of intrigue to the Silk Road's already rich history. But the dangers of these routes weren't limited to pirates. Sailors had to contend with fierce storms, hidden reefs, and the ever-present risk of shipwrecks. Many ships never reached their destinations, their treasures sinking to the ocean floor where they remain to this day. In fact, some of the greatest archaeological discoveries of recent years have come from the wrecks of Silk Road ships, their cargoes of porcelain, gold, and spices preserved in the depths for centuries. These underwater treasures offer a tantalizing glimpse into the wealth that once flowed along these maritime routes. As we reflect on the hidden pirate routes of the Silk Road, we're reminded that this ancient network was far more than just a path for caravans. It was a dynamic, multifaceted system that spanned land and sea, connecting cultures and economies in ways that shaped the world as we know it. And as we move forward, we'll uncover yet another layer of this incredible story. The forgotten language of the Sogdians, a people who played a crucial role in bridging East and West. But for now, let the tales of pirates and sunken treasures stir your imagination, a reminder of the Silk Road's endless capacity to surprise and inspire. Now, let's turn our attention from the high seas to the bustling crossroads of the Silk Road, where a remarkable group of people played a pivotal role in shaping the flow of trade and culture. Meet the Sogdians, a vibrant and resourceful community who served as the ultimate middlemen of the ancient world. Hailing from the region of Sogdia, located in what is now modern-day Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, the Sogdians were the unsung heroes of the Silk Road, bridging the gap between East and West with their unparalleled skills in trade, diplomacy, and communication. What set the Sogdians apart was not just their knack for business but also their unique language, a key that unlocked countless doors along the Silk Road. Sogdian, an Eastern Iranian language, became the lingua franca of trade across vast stretches of Asia. Imagine a bustling caravanserai where merchants from China, Persia, India, and beyond gathered to exchange goods. Amid the cacophony of different tongues, it was often the Sogdian language that facilitated understanding, allowing deals to be struck and alliances to be forged. Their script, derived from Aramaic, was used to record everything from trade contracts to personal letters, leaving behind a treasure trove of written records that offer us a window into their world. These writings, discovered in ancient ruins and along trade routes, reveal the Sogdians' central role in the Silk Road's intricate web of commerce and culture. Through their letters, we learn about the challenges they faced: long journeys, harsh climates, and the ever-present threat of bandits. But we also see their resilience and ingenuity. Sogdian merchants didn't just transport goods, they carried ideas, religions, and technologies, acting as cultural ambassadors who helped spread Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and even artistic styles across continents. One of the most fascinating discoveries is the Sogdian Ancient Letters, a collection of documents found in a watchtower along the Silk Road. These letters, written by Sogdian merchants to their families and business partners, provide intimate glimpses into their daily lives. They speak of love, loss, and the trials of long-distance trade, but they also reveal the sophisticated networks the Sogdians built, stretching from Samarkand to Chang'an, the capital of Tang Dynasty China. These networks weren't just about moving goods, they were about building relationships and fostering trust across vast distances. The Sogdians' legacy is a testament to the power of language and communication in shaping history. Their ability to navigate the complexities of the Silk Road, both linguistically and culturally, made them indispensable to the flow of trade and ideas. And while their language may have faded into obscurity, their contributions endure, reminding us that the Silk Road was as much about the exchange of words as it was about the exchange of goods. As we leave the world of the Sogdians behind, we'll venture into another fascinating chapter of the Silk Road story, one that explores how this ancient network became a conduit for the spread of Buddhism, transforming cultures and leaving an indelible mark on history. But for now, let the Sogdian story inspire you, a reminder of how a forgotten language and a determined people helped weave the fabric of the ancient world. Now, as we journey further along the Silk Road, we uncover a story not just of goods and gold, but of faith and transformation. The Silk Road was more than a trade route, it was a spiritual highway, carrying the teachings of Buddhism from the heart of India to the far reaches of China and beyond. This ancient network of paths became a lifeline for the spread of religious ideas, connecting distant lands through a shared quest for enlightenment. At the center of this spiritual exchange were the monks and traders who walked these routes, their journeys fueled by devotion and curiosity. Buddhist monks in particular played a crucial role, traveling vast distances to share the teachings of the Buddha. Along the way, they established monasteries and temples, creating hubs of learning and worship that attracted pilgrims and scholars alike. These sacred spaces became melting pots of culture, where art, philosophy, and religion intertwined. One of the most remarkable legacies of this spiritual journey is the Mogao Caves, a treasure trove of Buddhist art and scripture located near Dunhuang in western China. Carved into the cliffs of the Gobi Desert, these caves served as a sanctuary for travelers and a repository of knowledge. Inside, the walls are adorned with breathtaking murals depicting scenes from the life of the Buddha, while thousands of manuscripts written in multiple languages reveal the depth of Buddhist scholarship. The Mogao Caves stand as a testament to the Silk Road's role in preserving and spreading Buddhist teachings, offering a glimpse into the spiritual lives of those who traveled these ancient paths. But it wasn't just monks who carried the message of Buddhism. Traders, too, played a vital role, acting as cultural ambassadors who brought religious texts, statues, and ideas with them as they moved from one market to the next. Along the way, they introduced Buddhism to new audiences, blending it with local traditions and beliefs. This fusion of ideas gave rise to unique forms of Buddhist practice, from the Theravada traditions of Southeast Asia to the Mahayana schools that flourished in China and Central Asia. The spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road also had a profound impact on art and architecture. Stupas, pagodas, and statues began to dot the landscape, serving as symbols of faith and centers of community life. The famous giant Buddha statues of Bamiyan in Afghanistan, though tragically destroyed in modern times, once stood as towering reminders of the Silk Road's spiritual legacy. These monumental works of art were not just expressions of devotion, they were also statements of cultural exchange, blending Indian, Persian, and Chinese influences into a single harmonious vision. As Buddhism traveled eastward, it transformed the societies it touched, shaping everything from philosophy to politics. In China, for example, Buddhism became deeply intertwined with Confucian and Taoist traditions, giving rise to a rich tapestry of spiritual thought. The Silk Road, in this sense, was not just a conduit for goods, it was a bridge for ideas, connecting the spiritual landscapes of Asia in ways that continue to resonate today. With this in mind, we now turn our attention to another unsung hero of the Silk Road, a creature whose endurance and adaptability made it indispensable to the success of this ancient trade network. But that's a story for the next chapter. For now, let the journey of Buddhism along the Silk Road remind us of the power of ideas to transcend borders and transform lives. Now, as we shift our focus from the spiritual journeys of monks and traders, let's turn our attention to a creature that was as essential to the Silk Road as the goods it carried, the Bactrian camel. This remarkable animal, with its iconic two humps, was more than just a beast of burden. It was the unsung hero of the Silk Road, enabling trade to flourish across some of the most unforgiving landscapes on Earth. The Bactrian camel was uniquely suited to the challenges of desert travel. Unlike its single-humped cousin, the dromedary, the Bactrian camel thrived in the harsh, arid climates of Central Asia. Its thick coat provided insulation against the biting cold of desert nights, while its broad, padded feet allowed it to navigate shifting sands with ease. But perhaps its most extraordinary adaptation was its ability to go for days, or even weeks without water. This made the Bactrian camel indispensable for crossing vast stretches of desert where water sources were scarce and unreliable. For traders, the Bactrian camel was a lifeline. These animals could carry heavy loads of silk, spices, and other precious goods, often weighing up to 500 pounds. Their ability to endure long journeys without rest made them the perfect companions for caravans traveling thousands of miles across the Silk Road. Without the Bactrian camel, the exchange of goods and ideas between East and West would have been nearly impossible. But the Bactrian camel was more than just a practical tool. It held deep cultural significance for the people of the region. In many Central Asian societies, camels were revered as symbols of resilience and survival. They featured prominently in local art, folklore, and even religious practices. For nomadic tribes, the camel was a source of milk, meat, and wool, making it central to their way of life. Its importance was so great that it became a status symbol, with wealthy traders often owning large herds of these prized animals. The Bactrian camel also played a key role in shaping the Silk Road's economy. Its ability to transport goods efficiently allowed for the growth of bustling markets and trade hubs along the route. Cities like Samarkand and Bukhara owed much of their prosperity to the steady flow of goods carried by these hardy animals. In a sense, the Bactrian camel was the engine that powered the Silk Road, connecting distant cultures and fueling the exchange of ideas. As we reflect on the Bactrian camel's contributions, it's clear that this humble creature was far more than just a means of transportation. It was a symbol of endurance, adaptability, and the unbreakable spirit of those who traversed the Silk Road. And as we continue our journey, we'll uncover even more secrets of this ancient trade network, each one revealing a new layer of its fascinating history. Now, let's step away from the vast deserts and into the vibrant heart of the Silk Road, the oasis cities. These lush, thriving hubs were more than just stops along the way. They were the lifeblood of the trade routes, offering respite, resources, and a chance for travelers to connect. Among these, Samarkand and Bukhara stand out as shining examples of the Silk Road's hidden treasures. Samarkand, often referred to as the crossroad of cultures, was a city where East met West in the most spectacular way. Its skyline was dominated by towering minarets, grand mosques, and intricate madrasas, all adorned with dazzling blue tiles that seemed to capture the very essence of the sky. The Registan Square, with its 3 majestic madrasas, was the centerpiece of the city, a place where scholars, traders, and artisans gathered to exchange not just goods but ideas. The markets of Samarkand were a sensory overload. Spices from India, silks from China, and glassware from Persia all mingled in a vibrant tapestry of commerce. It was here that the Silk Road truly came alive, a place where the world's cultures converged and flourished. Bukhara, another jewel of the Silk Road, was equally remarkable. Known as the pillar of religion, this city was a spiritual and intellectual hub. Its ancient streets were lined with mosques, caravanserais, and bathhouses, each telling a story of the city's rich history. The Ark of Bukhara, a massive fortress, stood as a testament to the city's strategic importance, while the Kalyon minaret, towering over the city, served as both a beacon for travelers and a symbol of Bukhara's enduring legacy. The city's markets were a hive of activity where traders bartered for goods and travelers shared tales of their journeys. Bukhara was not just a place to rest, it was a place to learn, to worship, and to be inspired. These oasis cities were more than just stops along the Silk Road. They were melting pots of culture, religion, and innovation. Here, Persian poets recited verses alongside Chinese merchants, and Central Asian artisans crafted masterpieces that blended styles from across the known world. The architecture itself reflected this fusion, with domes, arches, and mosaics that drew from multiple traditions. It was in these cities that the Silk Road's true spirit was realized, a network not just of trade but of human connection. As we marvel at the legacy of Samarkand and Bukhara, it's clear that these oasis cities were more than just waypoints. They were the beating heart of the Silk Road, places where the world came together in a celebration of diversity and ingenuity. And as we continue our journey, we'll uncover even more secrets of this ancient trade network, each one revealing a new layer of its extraordinary history. But as we peel back the layers of the Silk Road's glittering history, we must also confront its darker chapters. Among these, the slave trade stands as a stark reminder that this ancient network was not just a route for goods and ideas, it was also a conduit for human suffering. The Silk Road slave trade was a grim reality, one that shaped societies and left a lasting impact on the cultures it touched. Enslaved people came from diverse backgrounds, often captured during raids or wars in regions like Central Asia, the Caucasus, and even as far as Eastern Europe. These individuals were then transported along the Silk Road, passing through bustling markets where they were bought and sold like any other commodity. The routes they traveled were the same ones that carried silk, spices, and precious stones, but for these captives, the journey was one of unimaginable hardship. Caravans moved slowly across deserts and mountains, and the conditions were brutal. Many did not survive the journey. The impact of the slave trade was felt deeply in the societies along the Silk Road. In cities like Samarkand and Bukhara, enslaved people were often used as domestic servants, laborers, or even soldiers. Some were taken to distant lands where they became part of the fabric of new cultures, while others were traded repeatedly, their lives marked by displacement and loss. The trade also had a profound effect on the economies of the region. Slaves were a valuable resource, and their sale brought wealth to traders and rulers alike. But this wealth came at a great human cost. What's often overlooked is how the slave trade influenced the cultural and social dynamics of the Silk Road. Enslaved people brought with them their languages, traditions, and skills, which sometimes blended into the societies they were forced into. Yet, their stories are rarely told in the grand narratives of the Silk Road. They remind us that history is not just about the triumphs of trade and the exchange of ideas, it's also about the resilience of those who endured its darkest moments. As we reflect on this chapter of the Silk Road's history, it's important to remember that the legacy of these enslaved individuals is woven into the very fabric of the cultures that emerged along this ancient network. Their experiences, though often hidden, are a vital part of understanding the full story of the Silk Road. And as we move forward, we'll uncover more secrets, some inspiring, others sobering, that reveal the complex tapestry of this legendary trade route. Now, as we shift our focus from the somber realities of the Silk Road's past, let's uncover a fascinating and more enigmatic aspect of this ancient network, its secret codes. Hidden within the walls of caravanserais, the bustling roadside inns that dotted the Silk Road, traders left behind a silent language of symbols. These cryptic markings were more than just decorations. They were a sophisticated system of communication, guiding merchants through the complexities of trade and travel. Caravanserais were the lifeblood of the Silk Road, providing weary travelers with shelter, food, and a place to rest their camels. But they were also hubs of information exchange. Traders from distant lands, speaking different languages and carrying goods from across the known world, needed a way to share vital details without words. This is where the secret symbols came into play. Etched into walls, carved into wooden beams, or painted on doorways, these symbols conveyed everything from the types of goods available to the safest routes ahead. Imagine a merchant arriving at a caravanserai after a long journey. As they entered, they might spot a series of symbols near the entrance, a crescent moon, a star, or a series of lines. To the untrained eye, these markings might seem random, but to a seasoned trader, they held crucial information. A crescent moon could indicate that the next stretch of the journey would be safest under the cover of night, while a star might signal a nearby oasis. Other symbols could reveal the prices of goods, the reputation of local traders, or even warnings about bandit activity in the area. These codes were not just practical, they were also a testament to the ingenuity of Silk Road traders. In a world without maps or written contracts, these symbols became a universal language, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers. They allowed merchants to navigate the vast and often treacherous trade routes with a degree of confidence and security. Over time, certain symbols became standardized, creating a shared system of communication that spanned thousands of miles. But the use of these symbols wasn't without risk. Just as traders relied on them for guidance, so too could bandits and thieves decipher their meanings. This led to an ongoing game of cat and mouse, with traders occasionally altering or disguising symbols to mislead those with ill intentions. The caravanserais, once seen as safe havens, became places of intrigue, where every symbol told a story and every story held the potential for danger or reward. Today, many of these symbols remain a mystery, their meanings lost to time. Yet, archaeologists and historians continue to study the caravanserais, piecing together fragments of this ancient code. Each discovery offers a glimpse into the minds of the traders who once relied on these symbols to navigate the Silk Road's vast and unpredictable landscape. As we move forward, we'll explore another layer of the Silk Road's hidden history, one that reveals the rise and fall of a powerful but often forgotten empire. But for now, let's marvel at the ingenuity of these secret codes, a silent testament to the resourcefulness and resilience of those who traveled the Silk Road. Now, as we journey further into the hidden layers of the Silk Road's history, let's turn our attention to one of its most influential yet often overlooked empires, the Kushan Kingdom. This remarkable empire, which flourished between the 1st and 3rd centuries, played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and economic landscape of the Silk Road. Stretching across vast territories in Central Asia, the Kushans controlled key trade routes that connected the East and West, making them a dominant force in the ancient world. The Kushan Empire emerged as a melting pot of cultures, blending influences from India, Persia, Greece, and China. This unique fusion is most vividly reflected in their art and architecture. The Kushans were patrons of the Gandhara school of art, which produced some of the most exquisite Buddhist sculptures and carvings ever seen. These artworks, characterized by their Greco-Roman influences, depicted the Buddha in human form for the first time, marking a significant shift in Buddhist iconography. The Gandhara style not only influenced local traditions but also spread along the Silk Road, leaving a lasting impact on the artistic heritage of Asia. But the Kushans were more than just cultural innovators, they were also masterful traders. Their control over key Silk Road routes allowed them to facilitate the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies between distant civilizations. Silk, spices, precious stones, and even glassware flowed through their territories, enriching their economy and strengthening their influence. The Kushans minted their own gold coins, which became a widely accepted currency along the trade routes. These coins, often adorned with images of their rulers and deities, serve as a testament to their wealth and power. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Kushan Empire was its religious tolerance. While Buddhism flourished under their rule, the Kushans also embraced Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, and even Greek deities. This openness to diverse beliefs created a vibrant spiritual environment that attracted scholars, monks, and traders from across the known world. The city of Mathura, a major Kushan center, became a hub for religious and cultural exchange. further solidifying the empire's role as a bridge between civilizations. Despite their significant contributions, the Kushan Empire eventually faded into obscurity, overshadowed by the rise of other powers like the Sassanids and the Gupta Empire. Yet, their legacy endures in the art, culture, and trade networks they helped shape. The Kushans remind us that the Silk Road was not just a route for goods, but a conduit for the exchange of ideas, beliefs, and creativity that transformed the ancient world. As we continue our exploration, we'll uncover another hidden treasure of the Silk Road: precious stones like jade and lapis lazuli, which carried not only material value but also deep cultural and spiritual significance. But for now, let's reflect on the Kushan Empire, a forgotten giant whose influence still echoes through the annals of history. Shifting our focus from the grand empires to the treasures they traded, let's delve into the world of precious stones that traveled along the Silk Road: jade and lapis lazuli. These stones were far more than mere commodities. They were symbols of power, spirituality, and cultural identity, coveted by rulers and artisans alike. Jade, with its smooth, luminous green hue, held a special place in the hearts of many Silk Road civilizations, particularly in China. For the Chinese, jade was not just a stone, it was a symbol of purity, morality, and immortality. Emperors adorned themselves with jade ornaments, believing it would protect them in life and guide them in the afterlife. The stone was so revered that it became a key element in rituals, burials, and even diplomacy. Jade carvings, often depicting mythical creatures or intricate patterns, were exchanged as gifts between rulers, cementing alliances and showcasing wealth. The demand for jade was so high that it spurred the creation of specialized trade routes, connecting the mines of Central Asia to the courts of China. On the other side of the Silk Road, lapis lazuli captivated the imaginations of those in the West. This deep blue stone, flecked with golden pyrite, was mined primarily in the rugged mountains of Afghanistan. To the ancient Egyptians, lapis lazuli was a symbol of the heavens, often used in jewelry, amulets, and even the burial mask of Tutankhamun. The stone's vibrant color was also ground into powder to create ultramarine, one of the most expensive pigments in history. Artists from Persia to Europe prized this pigment for its brilliance, using it to adorn manuscripts, frescoes, and religious icons. The trade of lapis lazuli not only enriched the economies of the regions it passed through, but also connected distant cultures through a shared appreciation for its beauty. Both jade and lapis lazuli carried spiritual significance that transcended their material value. In Buddhism, jade was believed to bring harmony and balance, while lapis lazuli was associated with wisdom and enlightenment. These stones became integral to religious art and architecture, adorning temples and statues along the Silk Road. Their presence in sacred spaces served as a reminder of the interconnectedness of the spiritual and material worlds. The trade of these precious stones also highlights the Silk Road's role as a network of cultural exchange. Jade and lapis lazuli were not just traded for their beauty, but also for the stories and beliefs they carried. Each stone became a symbol of the civilizations that cherished it, weaving a tapestry of shared values and aspirations across vast distances. As we move forward, we'll uncover another layer of the Silk Road's secrets: how messages traveled across its vast expanse, not by human hands, but by the wings of pigeons. But for now, let's marvel at the enduring legacy of jade and lapis lazuli, treasures that remind us of the Silk Road's ability to connect the world through beauty, belief, and trade. Now, let's turn our attention to a surprising yet ingenious method of communication that kept the Silk Road's vast networks connected: pigeons. These unassuming birds played a crucial role as messengers, bridging the gaps between distant cities and empires. While we often think of the Silk Road as a route for goods and ideas, it was also a lifeline for information, and pigeons were at the heart of this system. Pigeons, particularly homing pigeons, were prized for their remarkable ability to navigate long distances and return to their home lofts with incredible accuracy. This natural instinct made them ideal for carrying messages across the sprawling expanse of the Silk Road. Traders, rulers, and even military leaders relied on these birds to deliver critical information, from trade agreements to warnings of impending dangers. The speed and reliability of pigeon post were unmatched, especially in an era when overland travel could take weeks or even months. Training these birds was both an art and a science. Pigeons were raised in specific locations, often near key trading hubs or military outposts. From a young age, they were conditioned to recognize their home loft as their primary destination. Handlers would gradually increase the distance of their flights, ensuring the birds could navigate back from hundreds of miles away. Messages were carefully written on small pieces of paper or parchment, rolled into tiny scrolls and attached to the pigeon's legs. Once released, the birds would soar through the skies, often covering hundreds of miles in a single day to deliver their precious cargo. The use of pigeons wasn't just practical, it was revolutionary. In a world where communication delays could mean the difference between success and failure, these birds provided a lifeline. For example, merchants could send updates about market conditions or the arrival of caravans, allowing traders to adjust their strategies in real time. Military commanders used pigeons to coordinate troop movements or send urgent dispatches, ensuring their forces could respond swiftly to threats. Even in times of peace, pigeons helped maintain the intricate web of relationships that kept the Silk Road thriving. But the role of pigeons went beyond mere utility. They became symbols of trust and reliability, embodying the spirit of connection that defined the Silk Road. Their ability to traverse vast distances, often through harsh and unpredictable terrain, mirrored the resilience and determination of the people who traveled and traded along these routes. In a way, these birds were silent partners in the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures that shaped the ancient world. As we marvel at the ingenuity of the Silk Road's pigeon post, it's worth reflecting on how these humble birds helped sustain one of history's most complex networks. Their story reminds us that even the smallest creatures can play a monumental role in shaping human history. And with that, we'll move on to uncover yet another secret of the Silk Road, a discovery that changed the way knowledge was shared across the world. Now, let's journey into a discovery that transformed the way humanity recorded and shared knowledge: the art of papermaking. While we often think of the Silk Road as a route for silk, spices, and precious stones, it was also a highway for ideas and innovations. Among these, the spread of papermaking from China to the West stands out as one of the most profound contributions to human civilization. The story begins in ancient China, where paper was first invented around the 2nd century during the Han Dynasty. Before paper, people relied on materials like bamboo strips, silk, or animal skins to write on, which were either cumbersome or expensive. The invention of paper, made from plant fibers like hemp and mulberry bark, revolutionized writing by providing a lightweight, durable, and affordable alternative. This breakthrough didn't just make writing easier, it made it accessible to more people, paving the way for a cultural and intellectual explosion. But how did this revolutionary technology make its way to the West? The answer lies in the Silk Road. As Chinese merchants and travelers ventured westward, they carried not only goods but also knowledge. Paper-making techniques were closely guarded secrets, but over time they began to spread beyond China's borders. By the 8th century, the art had reached the Islamic world, where it was further refined and perfected. Cities like Samarkand became centers of paper production, using techniques that improved upon the original Chinese methods. From there, paper-making spread to Europe, where it would eventually replace parchment and revolutionize the way information was recorded and shared. The impact of paper on the Silk Road and beyond cannot be overstated. For traders, it meant more efficient record-keeping and communication. Contracts, receipts, and letters could now be written and transported with ease, facilitating smoother transactions across vast distances. For scholars and religious leaders, paper became a medium for preserving and spreading knowledge. texts on science, philosophy, and religion could be copied and distributed more widely, leading to an unprecedented exchange of ideas. Libraries and schools flourished, and the written word became a powerful tool for education and cultural exchange. Perhaps one of the most significant outcomes of paper's spread was its role in the preservation of history. Ancient texts that might have been lost to time were now recorded on paper, ensuring that the wisdom of past generations could be passed down to future ones. The Silk Road, already a conduit for goods and ideas, became a lifeline for the written word, connecting civilizations through the shared medium of paper. As we reflect on the journey of papermaking along the Silk Road, it's clear that this humble invention did more than just change how we write, it changed how we think, learn, and connect. The spread of paper was a quiet revolution, one that laid the foundation for the modern world's information age. And with that, we'll move on to uncover another hidden danger that lurked along these ancient trade routes, a threat that shaped the lives of travelers and traders alike. Now, let's turn our attention to a darker side of the Silk Road, one that kept travelers and traders constantly on edge. The threat of bandits and robbers was an ever-present danger along these ancient trade routes. For every caravan laden with silk, spices, and precious goods, there were those who sought to take it by force. This hidden danger shaped the way people traveled, traded, and even planned their journeys. Bandits were a constant menace, lurking in the shadows of mountain passes, deserts, and remote stretches of the Silk Road. These outlaws often operated in well-organized groups, ambushing caravans and making off with valuable cargo. Some of the most notorious bandit leaders became legends in their own right, their names whispered in fear by merchants and travelers. One such figure was the infamous Black Wolf, a bandit king who ruled the treacherous Taklamakan Desert. His raids were so frequent and devastating that entire caravans would avoid certain routes altogether, altering the flow of trade for years. To protect themselves, traders took extraordinary measures. Caravans often traveled in large groups, hiring armed guards to fend off attacks. Some merchants even disguised their most valuable goods, hiding them in plain sight or burying them along the route to retrieve later. Clever tactics like these were essential for survival, but even with precautions, the risk of robbery was always high. Stories abound of entire caravans vanishing without a trace, their fate left to the imagination of those who followed. The threat of bandits wasn't just about stolen goods, it was about survival. Travelers faced the constant fear of violence, and many carried weapons for self-defense. Some even resorted to paying bribes or forming uneasy alliances with local bandit groups to ensure safe passage. These desperate measures highlight just how perilous the Silk Road could be, even for the most seasoned traders. Yet, amidst the danger, legends of heroism and cunning also emerged. Tales of brave guards who fought off bandit attacks or clever merchants who outwitted their pursuers became part of Silk Road folklore. These stories served as both cautionary tales and sources of inspiration, reminding travelers that even in the face of danger, ingenuity and courage could prevail. The legacy of these bandits and robbers is a reminder that the Silk Road was not just a route of commerce and cultural exchange. It was also a place of risk and resilience. The constant threat of theft shaped the way people moved, traded, and protected their livelihoods, leaving an indelible mark on the history of this ancient network. And as we continue our journey, we'll uncover yet another layer of the Silk Road's hidden dangers, one that would reshape societies in ways no one could have imagined. Now, let's shift our focus to a group of trailblazers whose stories have often been overlooked, the women of the Silk Road. While the image of the Silk Road is often dominated by male merchants and adventurers, women played a crucial and often underappreciated role in this vast network of trade and cultural exchange. From merchants and caravan leaders to artisans and diplomats, women were integral to the success and survival of many Silk Road ventures. In a world where trade was largely dominated by men, women faced significant challenges. They had to navigate societal expectations, limited legal rights, and the constant threat of danger on the road. Yet many women defied these odds, carving out spaces for themselves in the bustling markets and caravanserais. Some became skilled merchants, trading goods like silk, spices, and precious stones across vast distances. Others took on leadership roles, organizing caravans and negotiating deals with traders from different cultures. These women were not just participants in the Silk Road, they were pioneers, shaping its legacy in ways that are only now being fully recognized. One remarkable example is the story of a woman known as Lady Zhang, a merchant from Dunhuang who managed a thriving trade network spanning from China to Central Asia. Despite the risks, she traveled extensively, building relationships with traders and securing valuable goods for her business. Her success was a testament to her resilience and ingenuity, proving that women could thrive even in the most challenging environments. But the contributions of women went beyond commerce. They were also key figures in cultural exchange, bringing ideas, traditions, and innovations from one region to another. Women artisans, for instance, played a vital role in spreading techniques for weaving, dyeing, and crafting goods that became highly sought after along the Silk Road. Their work not only enriched the material culture of the time, but also helped bridge the gap between distant civilizations. Of course, the journey was far from easy. Women traders often had to contend with prejudice, exploitation, and the constant threat of violence. Many traveled under the protection of male relatives or disguised themselves to avoid unwanted attention. Yet, despite these obstacles, they persisted, leaving behind a legacy of courage and determination that continues to inspire. The stories of these forgotten women traders remind us that the Silk Road was not just a route for goods, it was also a path for people, ideas, and dreams. By shedding light on their contributions, we gain a deeper understanding of the Silk Road's complexity and the diverse individuals who made it thrive. And as we move forward, we'll uncover yet another layer of this ancient network's secrets, one that reveals how the Silk Road became a conduit for the spread of ideas that would change the world. Now, let's turn our attention to a secret that added flavor, fragrance, and even healing to the Silk Road: the spice trade. Spices like cinnamon, pepper, and saffron were more than just luxury items. They were treasures that shaped cuisines, medicines, and even economies across continents. These aromatic wonders traveled thousands of miles, carried by caravans and ships, connecting distant lands through their allure and value. Cinnamon, for instance, was one of the most sought-after spices. Originating from Sri Lanka and southern India, it made its way to the Middle East and Europe via the Silk Road. Traders would bundle cinnamon bark into tightly packed rolls, protecting it from the harsh conditions of the journey. Its sweet, warming flavor became a symbol of wealth and sophistication, often reserved for the elite. But cinnamon wasn't just a culinary delight, it was also prized for its medicinal properties, believed to aid digestion and treat ailments. Pepper, often called black gold, was another cornerstone of the spice trade. Grown in the lush hills of southern India, it was transported in large quantities along the Silk Road. Its pungent, fiery taste transformed bland dishes into flavorful feasts, making it a staple in kitchens from Rome to China. Beyond its culinary uses, pepper was also valued in traditional medicine, used to treat everything from colds to digestive issues. Its high demand even led to it being used as a form of currency in some regions. Then there was saffron, the most expensive spice of all. Harvested from the delicate threads of the crocus flower, it required immense labor to produce just a small amount. Saffron's vibrant color and unique flavor made it a favorite among chefs and royalty alike. But its uses extended far beyond the kitchen. It was also a key ingredient in perfumes, dyes, and ancient remedies, believed to have healing properties for both the body and mind. The transportation of these spices was no small feat. Caravans braved deserts, mountains, and bandit-infested routes to deliver their precious cargo. Ships navigated treacherous seas, battling storms and pirates to bring spices to distant ports. The risks were high, but so were the rewards. Spices became a driving force behind the expansion of trade networks, fostering connections between cultures and fueling the economies of empires. The impact of the spice trade went beyond commerce. It transformed cuisines, introducing new flavors and techniques that shaped the way people cooked and ate. It also influenced medicine, as spices were incorporated into remedies and treatments across the world. The exchange of spices along the Silk Road wasn't just about trade. It was about the blending of cultures, the sharing of knowledge, and the creation of a richer, more interconnected world. As we continue our journey through the secrets of the Silk Road, we'll uncover how this ancient network wasn't just a route for goods, but a bridge for ideas that would shape the course of history. Now let's shift our focus to a secret that guided countless travelers across the Silk Road: the hidden maps that charted this vast network of trade routes. Among these, the maps created by Ptolemy, the ancient Greek scholar, stand out as some of the most remarkable. Ptolemy's work, known as the Geographia, was a groundbreaking achievement in cartography, offering detailed descriptions of the known world at the time, including key regions along the Silk Road. Ptolemy's maps were not just simple sketches, they were the result of meticulous calculations and observations. Using a system of latitude and longitude, he plotted the positions of cities, mountains, rivers, and trade routes with surprising accuracy for his era. These maps were based on a combination of first-hand accounts from travelers, astronomical data, and mathematical principles. While they weren't perfect by modern standards, they provided a reliable framework for navigating the sprawling Silk Road. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ptolemy's maps is how they reflected the interconnectedness of the ancient world. They showed the Silk Road as a web of routes linking distant lands from the Mediterranean to China. Traders, explorers, and even pilgrims relied on these maps to plan their journeys, often carrying copies or memorizing key details. The maps also included notes on the terrain, climate, and resources of different regions, helping travelers prepare for the challenges ahead. But creating these maps was no easy task. Ptolemy and other cartographers had to rely on limited information, often piecing together fragments of knowledge from various sources. They faced the challenge of translating verbal descriptions into visual representations, a process that required both creativity and precision. Despite these limitations, Ptolemy's maps became invaluable tools for Silk Road travelers, offering a sense of direction in an otherwise unpredictable landscape. The legacy of Ptolemy's maps extends far beyond their practical use. They represent one of the earliest attempts to document the world in a systematic way, laying the foundation for modern cartography. They also highlight the Silk Road's role as a conduit for the exchange of knowledge, as Ptolemy's work was later translated and expanded upon by scholars in the Islamic world and Europe. As we delve deeper into the secrets of the Silk Road, we'll uncover how these ancient maps not only guided travelers but also shaped our understanding of the world, bridging the gap between distant cultures and eras. Now, let's uncover one of the most extraordinary secrets of the Silk Road, a hidden treasure trove of knowledge that lay forgotten for centuries. Deep within the Mogao caves near Dunhuang, China, a remarkable discovery was made: the Dunhuang manuscripts. These ancient texts, numbering in the tens of thousands, were sealed away in a small chamber around the year 1000, and they remained untouched until their rediscovery in the early 20th century. The Dunhuang manuscripts are a window into the vibrant intellectual and cultural life of the Silk Road. They include Buddhist scriptures, historical records, legal documents, poetry, and even personal letters, written in a variety of languages such as Chinese, Tibetan, Sanskrit, and Sogdian. This incredible diversity reflects the Silk Road's role as a melting pot of cultures, where ideas, religions, and languages flowed freely across vast distances. One of the most fascinating aspects of these manuscripts is what they reveal about the spread of Buddhism along the Silk Road. Many of the texts are Buddhist sutras, painstakingly copied by monks and pilgrims who traveled the trade routes. These documents not only highlight the religious devotion of the time, but also show how Buddhism adapted and evolved as it moved from India to China and beyond. But the Dunhuang manuscripts are more than just religious texts. They also provide a glimpse into the everyday lives of Silk Road travelers. Personal letters reveal the hopes, fears, and struggles of merchants, soldiers, and families separated by vast distances. Legal documents shed light on trade agreements, property disputes, and the complex social structures of the time. Even fragments of poetry and art offer a sense of the creativity and beauty that flourished along these ancient routes. The discovery of the Dunhuang manuscripts has been a game-changer for historians and scholars. They offer a rare, unfiltered look at the Silk Road's history, filling in gaps that other sources could not. From the spread of religions to the intricacies of daily life, these texts have deepened our understanding of how the Silk Road shaped the world. As we continue our journey through the secrets of the Silk Road, we'll explore how these ancient manuscripts not only preserved knowledge but also connected distant cultures, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire us today. Now, let's turn our attention to a secret that changed the course of history: gunpowder. This revolutionary invention, born in China, didn't stay confined to its place of origin. Instead, it traveled westward along the Silk Road, transforming warfare and reshaping empires along the way. Gunpowder, known as fire medicine in ancient China, was first developed during the Tang dynasty around the 9th century. Initially, it was used for medicinal and mystical purposes, but its explosive potential was soon realized. By the time of the Song dynasty, gunpowder was being used in early forms of weaponry, such as fire arrows and primitive bombs. These innovations gave Chinese armies a significant advantage, but the secret of gunpowder didn't remain hidden for long. As merchants, travelers, and diplomats moved along the Silk Road, they carried more than just goods, they carried knowledge. The formula for gunpowder, along with the technology to create it, began to spread westward. By the 13th century, the Mongols, who controlled vast stretches of the Silk Road, had adopted gunpowder weapons, using them to devastating effect in their conquests. From there, the knowledge continued to spread, reaching the Middle East and eventually Europe. The impact of gunpowder on warfare was nothing short of revolutionary. In Europe, it led to the decline of feudal castles and the rise of centralized states, as traditional fortifications could no longer withstand cannon fire. Armies began to shift from knights and swords to infantry armed with firearms, changing the very nature of combat. The introduction of gunpowder also played a key role in the Age of Exploration, as European powers used advanced weaponry to establish colonies and dominate trade routes. But gunpowder's influence extended beyond the battlefield. It sparked a wave of technological innovation, leading to advancements in metallurgy, chemistry, and engineering. The quest to improve gunpowder weapons drove scientific discovery, laying the groundwork for the Industrial Revolution centuries later. The Silk Road, often celebrated for its role in spreading silk, spices, and ideas, also played a crucial part in the dissemination of gunpowder. This secret weapon, born in the East, became a global force, altering the balance of power and shaping the modern world. As we continue to explore the secrets of the Silk Road, we'll see how this ancient network of trade routes was not just a conduit for goods, but a catalyst for change that continues to resonate today. Now, let's step into a world of color and spirituality as we uncover the hidden art of the Silk Road, the breathtaking cave temples of Bezeklik. Nestled in the flaming mountains of China's Xinjiang region, these caves are a treasure trove of vibrant murals that offer a vivid glimpse into the cultural and religious life of Silk Road travelers. The Bezeklik caves, carved into the cliffs by Buddhist monks around the 6th century, served as both places of worship and rest for weary travelers. The walls of these caves are adorned with stunning frescoes, painted in rich hues of red, blue, and gold. These murals depict scenes from the life of Buddha, as well as everyday life along the Silk Road, from bustling marketplaces to caravans of camels laden with goods. What makes these murals truly remarkable is their ability to tell stories. They capture the diversity of the Silk Road, showcasing people of different ethnicities, religions, and cultures coming together in trade and spiritual exchange. Some murals even feature Zoroastrian and Manichaean influences, reflecting the blending of beliefs that define this ancient network. But the Bezeklik caves are more than just artistic masterpieces. They are windows into the spiritual world of the Silk Road. For centuries, these caves were places of meditation and pilgrimage, where monks and travelers sought solace and enlightenment. The murals served as visual teachings, helping to spread Buddhist ideas and practices across the region. Sadly, many of these murals were lost or damaged over time, with some removed by explorers in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Yet, what remains is a testament to the skill and devotion of the artists who created them. Today, efforts are being made to preserve and restore these priceless works of art, ensuring that future generations can appreciate their beauty and significance. The Bezeklik cave temples remind us that the Silk Road was not just a route for trade, but also a highway for ideas, art, and spirituality. As we move forward, we'll explore another hidden gem of the Silk Road, a forgotten empire that once held the keys to this vast network of trade and culture. Now, let's turn our attention to the intrepid explorers who braved the vast and unpredictable landscapes of the Silk Road, leaving behind a legacy of discovery and documentation. Among these trailblazers, two names stand out: Zhang Qian and Marco Polo. Their journeys not only expanded the world's understanding of the Silk Road, but also laid the groundwork for future generations of adventurers and traders. Zhang Qian, often called the father of the Silk Road, was a Chinese diplomat and explorer during the Han Dynasty. In the 2nd century before the Common Era, he embarked on a mission to forge alliances with distant tribes against a common enemy. Though his initial journey was fraught with challenges including capture and imprisonment, Zhang Qian's perseverance paid off. He returned to China with invaluable knowledge about the lands to the west, including Central Asia and even parts of the Middle East. His reports introduced the Chinese court to new cultures, goods, and ideas, sparking a wave of interest in trade and exploration that would shape the Silk Road for centuries to come. Centuries later, another legendary figure would follow in Zhang Qian's footsteps: Marco Polo. The Venetian merchant and traveler set out on his epic journey in the 13th century, venturing far beyond the known world of Europe. His travels took him through the heart of the Silk Road, from the bustling markets of Persia to the grandeur of the Mongol Empire under Kublai Khan. Marco Polo's detailed accounts of his adventures, recorded in the Travels of Marco Polo, became one of the most important sources of information about Asia for Europeans. His vivid descriptions of cities like Samarkand and the wealth of the East ignited imaginations and inspired future explorers, including Christopher Columbus. What makes these explorers so remarkable is not just their courage but their role as cultural bridges. Zhang Qian's diplomatic missions opened the door for the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies between East and West. Marco Polo's writings, on the other hand, brought the wonders of the Silk Road to a European audience, forever changing how the West viewed the East. Together, their contributions helped map the Silk Road both literally and figuratively, creating a clearer picture of the interconnected world they traversed. As we reflect on their journeys, it's clear that Zhang Qian and Marco Polo were more than just explorers. They were storytellers, diplomats, and pioneers who shaped the course of history. Their legacies remind us that the Silk Road was not just a path for trade but a stage for human curiosity and ambition. Next, we'll uncover another fascinating aspect of this ancient network: how silk itself became a form of currency, weaving its way into the very fabric of Silk Road economies. Now, let's unravel one of the most fascinating aspects of the Silk Road: the surprising role of silk as a form of currency. While we often think of silk as a luxurious fabric, it was far more than just a trade good. It was a key player in the economies that flourished along this ancient network. Silk, with its lightweight and durable nature, became an ideal medium of exchange. Unlike heavy coins or cumbersome goods, silk could be easily transported over long distances, making it perfect for the vast stretches of the Silk Road. Its value was universally recognized, and it was accepted as payment for goods, services, and even taxes. In many ways, silk functioned like modern-day money, circulating across borders and cultures. The value of silk was not just in its beauty but in its rarity. Produced exclusively in China for centuries, the secrets of silk making were closely guarded. This exclusivity made it highly sought after, and its worth was often measured in gold. For example, in some regions, a single bolt of silk could be exchanged for a significant amount of grain or livestock. This made it a reliable and stable form of currency, especially in areas where metal coins were scarce or unreliable. Trading silk as currency also had a unique advantage. It was a form of wealth that could be worn. Merchants and travelers could carry their wealth in the form of silk garments or bolts, blending practicality with prestige. This dual purpose made silk not just a medium of exchange, but also a symbol of status and power. The use of silk as money had a profound impact on the Silk Road economy. It facilitated trade by providing a common standard of value, allowing merchants from different regions to negotiate deals with confidence. It also helped bridge cultural divides, as silk was a commodity that transcended language and borders. As we reflect on the ingenuity of using silk as currency, it's clear that this practice was more than just a clever economic solution. It was a testament to the adaptability and creativity of the people who traveled and traded along the Silk Road. Next, we'll explore another hidden danger that lurked along these ancient routes: the spread of disease, and how it reshaped societies in ways no one could have anticipated. While the Silk Road was a lifeline for trade and cultural exchange, it also carried a hidden and deadly passenger disease. As merchants, travelers, and caravans moved goods across vast distances, they unknowingly transported pathogens that would leave a lasting mark on history. Among the most devastating of these was the Black Death, a plague that swept through Eurasia in the 14th century, reshaping societies and leaving millions dead in its wake. The Silk Road's interconnected network of trade routes made it an ideal conduit for the spread of disease. Merchants and travelers carried not only silk, spices, and precious stones, but also bacteria and viruses. Rats, fleas, and other disease-carrying creatures often hitched rides on caravans, spreading illness from one region to another. The close quarters of caravanserais, where travelers rested and traded, became hotspots for contagion, allowing diseases to jump from person to person with alarming speed. The Black Death, believed to have originated in Central Asia, spread rapidly along the Silk Road, reaching Europe, the Middle East, and China. This plague, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, decimated populations, killing an estimated 1/3 of Europe's population at its peak. Entire towns and cities were wiped out, and the social and economic fabric of societies was torn apart. The Silk Road, once a symbol of prosperity, became a pathway of death and despair. But the Black Death was not the only disease to travel along these ancient routes. Smallpox, measles, and other infectious diseases also spread through trade and travel, often with devastating consequences. These outbreaks were not just tragedies, they were catalysts for change. The massive loss of life led to labor shortages, which in turn spurred innovations in agriculture and technology. The collapse of old systems gave rise to new ones, reshaping economies and societies in ways that would echo for centuries. The role of the Silk Road in spreading disease highlights a paradox of globalization. The same connections that brought wealth and cultural exchange also carried the seeds of destruction. Yet, even in the face of such devastation, the resilience of human societies shines through. Communities adapted, rebuilt, and continued to trade, proving that the spirit of the Silk Road endured even in the darkest times. As we consider the impact of disease on the Silk Road, it's a reminder of how interconnected our world has always been, and how the movement of people and goods can shape history in unexpected ways. Next, we'll uncover the stories of two once thriving cities along the Silk Road, Merv and Palmyra, and explore how their rise and fall reflect the triumphs and tragedies of this ancient network. Now, let's journey to the heart of the Silk Road, where two legendary cities once stood as shining examples of prosperity and cultural exchange. Merv and Palmyra, though now lost to time, were once bustling hubs of trade, art, and innovation. Their stories reveal not only the grandeur of the Silk Road, but also the fragility of even the most powerful civilizations. Merv, located in modern-day Turkmenistan, was one of the largest and most important cities of the ancient world. Known as the Queen of Cities, it thrived as a crossroads of cultures where Persian, Chinese, Indian, and Mediterranean influences converged. Merv's strategic location made it a vital stop for caravans, and its wealth was reflected in its grand architecture, including towering walls, lush gardens, and intricate mosques. For centuries, it was a beacon of learning and commerce, attracting scholars, merchants, and travelers from across the globe. But Merv's glory was not to last. In the 13th century, the city faced a devastating blow when it was sacked by the Mongols. The invaders left destruction in their wake, and Merv never fully recovered. Today, the ruins of this once great city stand as a haunting reminder of its past, with archaeologists uncovering remnants of its grandeur, from ancient coins to fragments of pottery that tell the story of its rise and fall. Meanwhile, far to the west, the city of Palmyra flourished in the Syrian desert. Known as the Bride of the Desert, Palmyra was a vital link between the Roman Empire and the East. Its wealth came from its role as a trading hub, where goods like silk, spices, and incense passed through its bustling markets. Palmyra's unique blend of Roman, Greek, and Persian influences is evident in its stunning architecture, including the iconic Temple of Bel and the grand colonnaded streets that once bustled with life. Like Merv, Palmyra's fate was sealed by conflict. In the 3rd century, the city's ambitious queen, Zenobia, led a rebellion against Rome, declaring Palmyra an independent empire. Though her reign was short-lived, it marked the beginning of the city's decline. Over the centuries, Palmyra faced invasions, earthquakes, and neglect until its ruins were rediscovered by archaeologists in the modern era. Tragically, in recent years, parts of the site have been damaged by conflict, underscoring the vulnerability of these ancient treasures. The stories of Merv and Palmyra remind us that even the mightiest cities are not immune to the forces of time and change. Yet, through the work of archaeologists and historians, these lost cities have been brought back to life, offering us a glimpse into their vibrant pasts. Their ruins stand as testaments to the ingenuity and resilience of the people who built them, and to the enduring legacy of the Silk Road. As we reflect on the rise and fall of these once thriving cities, we're reminded of the delicate balance between prosperity and vulnerability. Next, we'll explore how traders from different cultures communicated along the Silk Road, uncovering the secret language that kept goods and ideas flowing across continents. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most fascinating aspects of the Silk Road, the way people from vastly different cultures managed to communicate. Imagine traders from China, Persia, India, and the Mediterranean all meeting in bustling markets, each speaking their own language. How did they understand each other? The answer lies in the Silk Road's secret weapon, a common trade language known as the lingua franca. This lingua franca wasn't a single language, but rather a mix of words, gestures, and simplified phrases that traders used to bridge the gap between their native tongues. Think of it as a kind of ancient trade speak, a practical way to negotiate prices, discuss goods, and build trust without needing to master multiple languages. Over time, this shared language became a vital tool for keeping the Silk Road's vast network of trade routes running smoothly. One of the most widely used forms of this lingua franca was Sogdian, the language of the Sogdian people, who were key middlemen along the Silk Road. Sogdian traders, known for their business acumen, often acted as interpreters, helping to facilitate communication between merchants from different regions. Their language became so influential that it spread far beyond their homeland, leaving traces in documents and inscriptions found along the Silk Road. But the lingua franca wasn't just about practicality, it also played a crucial role in cultural exchange. As traders communicated, they didn't just exchange goods, they shared ideas, stories, and traditions. This blending of languages and cultures helped to create a unique Silk Road identity, where people from different backgrounds could find common ground. The impact of this shared language extended far beyond trade. It allowed for the spread of religious ideas, scientific knowledge, and artistic styles across continents. For example, Buddhist texts translated into multiple languages traveled along the Silk Road, thanks in part to the ability of traders and monks to communicate across linguistic barriers. The legacy of the Silk Road's lingua franca reminds us that communication is more than just words, it's about connection. By finding ways to understand one another, the people of the Silk Road built a network that wasn't just about commerce but about the exchange of ideas and cultures. As we marvel at the ingenuity of these ancient traders, let's shift our focus to another hidden gem of the Silk Road, the skilled artisans who transformed raw materials into works of art. Next, we'll uncover the secrets of the glassmakers of Samarkand and their stunning creations that dazzled travelers and traders alike. Now, let's step into the vibrant world of Samarkand, where the air was filled with the glow of molten glass and the hum of creativity. Among the many treasures that traveled the Silk Road, the exquisite glassware crafted by Samarkand's artisans stood out as a testament to human ingenuity and artistry. These glassmakers weren't just craftsmen, they were masters of their trade, transforming simple materials into objects of breathtaking beauty that captivated traders and travelers alike. The glassmakers of Samarkand were renowned for their advanced techniques, which they refined over centuries. Using a combination of locally sourced sand and minerals, they created glass that was both durable and dazzling. One of their most impressive skills was the art of glassblowing, a technique that allowed them to shape molten glass into delicate vessels, intricate ornaments, and even colorful beads. These items weren't just functional, they were works of art, often adorned with intricate patterns and vibrant hues that reflected the cultural influences of the Silk Road. What made Samarkand's glass so special was its ability to blend practicality with beauty. Traders from distant lands prized these glass objects not only for their craftsmanship but also for their versatility. Glass bottles and jars were used to store precious perfumes, spices, and medicines, while decorative pieces became symbols of wealth and status. The glass beads, in particular, were highly sought after, often traded as far as Europe and Africa, where they were used in jewelry and adornments. But the glassmakers' contributions went beyond trade. Their creations also served as a medium for cultural exchange. The designs and techniques they used often incorporated motifs and styles from Persia, China, and the Mediterranean, creating a unique fusion of artistic traditions. This blending of influences made Samarkand's glassware a visual representation of the Silk Road's interconnected world. The legacy of Samarkand's glassmakers reminds us that the Silk Road wasn't just about the exchange of goods, it was also about the exchange of creativity and skill. These artisans didn't just make glass, they crafted a bridge between cultures, one shimmering piece at a time. As we marvel at the artistry of Samarkand's glassmakers, let's turn our attention to another group of skilled individuals who left their mark on the Silk Road. Next, we'll explore the fierce warriors known as the Scythians, whose nomadic lifestyle and mastery of the steppe shaped the history of this ancient trade route. Now, let's journey into the vast steppes of Central Asia, where the Scythians, a formidable group of nomadic warriors, once roamed. These fierce fighters were more than just skilled combatants, they were key players in the history of the Silk Road, controlling crucial trade routes and shaping the region's culture and politics. The Scythians were masters of the open plains, living a nomadic lifestyle that allowed them to move swiftly across the landscape. Their expertise in horseback riding and archery made them nearly unstoppable in battle. Armed with composite bows and riding sturdy horses, they could strike with precision and speed, earning a reputation as some of the most feared warriors of their time. But their influence extended far beyond the battlefield. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Scythians was their art. Known for their intricate goldwork, they created stunning jewelry, weapons, and ornaments that reflected their nomadic way of life. These pieces often featured animal motifs such as stags, eagles, and mythical creatures, symbolizing their connection to nature and the spiritual world. The Scythians' artistry wasn't just decorative, it was a way of telling stories, preserving their culture, and showcasing their status. The Scythians also played a significant role in the Silk Road's trade networks. As they moved across the steppes, they acted as intermediaries between the settled civilizations of China, Persia, and the Mediterranean. They traded goods like furs, horses, and gold, while also facilitating the exchange of ideas and technologies. Their presence helped bridge the gap between East and West, making them essential to the Silk Road's success. Despite their nomadic lifestyle, the Scythians left a lasting legacy. Their influence can be seen in the art and culture of the regions they touched, and their warrior ethos inspired countless generations. They remind us that the Silk Road wasn't just a path for merchants, it was also a stage for the rise and fall of powerful empires and peoples. As we reflect on the Scythians' impact, let's turn our attention to another hidden gem of the Silk Road. Next, we'll explore the lush gardens of Persia, where travelers found respite and inspiration amidst the arid landscapes of the trade route. Now, let's step into a world of tranquility and beauty, where the harsh deserts of the Silk Road gave way to lush, green sanctuaries. These were the Persian paradise gardens, a testament to human ingenuity and the desire to create beauty even in the most challenging environments. Inspired by Persian designs, these gardens were more than just places of rest, they were symbols of paradise on earth. The concept of the paradise garden dates back to ancient Persia, where they were seen as representations of heaven, a place of eternal peace and abundance. These gardens were carefully designed to reflect the harmony between nature and human creativity, with flowing water, shaded walkways, and vibrant flowers creating a sense of serenity. The layout of these gardens was no accident. They were typically divided into 4 sections by water channels, symbolizing the 4 rivers of paradise described in ancient texts. This design, known as the Chahar Bog, became a hallmark of Persian gardens and was later adopted by cultures across the Silk Road. The sound of water, the fragrance of blooming flowers, and the cool shade of trees provided a much-needed respite for weary travelers who had spent days crossing the arid landscapes. But the Persian paradise gardens were not just about beauty, they were also practical. The gardens often included fruit trees, herbs, and medicinal plants, offering sustenance and healing to those who passed through. They became hubs of cultural exchange, where travelers from different regions could share knowledge about agriculture, botany, and even art. The influence of these gardens extended far beyond Persia. As the Silk Road connected east and west, the concept of the paradise garden spread to places like India, Central Asia, and even Europe. The Mughal gardens of India, with their intricate designs and flowing water, are a direct legacy of this Persian tradition. The Persian paradise gardens remind us that the Silk Road was not just a route for trade, it was also a path for the exchange of ideas, beauty, and inspiration. These gardens offered a glimpse of paradise in the midst of a long and arduous journey, a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, humanity can create something extraordinary. As we leave these tranquil oases behind, let's turn our attention to the stars. Next, we'll uncover the Silk Road's hidden connection to the cosmos, where ancient cultures mapped the heavens and used the stars to guide their journeys. Now, let's shift our gaze upward from the earthly beauty of the Persian paradise gardens to the vast expanse of the night sky. The Silk Road was not just a path for goods and ideas, it was also a route for the stars. Ancient cultures along this legendary trade network looked to the heavens for guidance, creating intricate star maps that reveal their advanced understanding of astronomy. The people of Central Asia, in particular, were masters of the skies. They observed the movements of celestial bodies with remarkable precision, using their knowledge to navigate the vast deserts and mountain ranges of the Silk Road. These star maps were more than just tools for travel. They were also vital for timekeeping, helping traders and travelers plan their journeys and mark the changing seasons. One of the most fascinating examples of this astronomical expertise comes from the ancient city of Samarkand. Here, scholars like Ulugh Beg, a 15th century astronomer and ruler, built an observatory to study the stars. His work produced some of the most accurate star catalogues of the time, detailing the positions of over 1,000 stars. These catalogues were not only scientific achievements but also practical guides for Silk Road travelers who relied on the stars to find their way. But the star maps of Central Asia were not just about navigation. They also held deep cultural and spiritual significance. Many Silk Road cultures believed that the stars were connected to the divine and their movements could reveal the will of the gods. This belief led to the creation of elaborate astrological systems, where the positions of celestial bodies were used to predict events and guide decisions. The influence of these star maps extended far beyond Central Asia. As the Silk Road connected distant regions, this astronomical knowledge spread to places like China, India, and the Middle East. In China, for example, star maps were used to create detailed calendars and predict celestial events like eclipses. These calendars were essential for agriculture, helping farmers know when to plant and harvest their crops. The Silk Road's hidden astronomy reminds us that this ancient trade network was not just about commerce, it was also a conduit for the exchange of knowledge. The stars above guided travelers across the earth, linking distant cultures through a shared understanding of the cosmos. As we leave the stars behind, let's turn our attention to another hidden treasure of the Silk Road, the lost music of the Tarim Basin. Next, we'll explore the ancient instruments and melodies that once filled the air along this historic route. Now, let's journey from the celestial wonders of the Silk Road to the melodies that once echoed through its ancient landscapes. Music was not just an art form along this historic route, it was a language of its own, connecting people across cultures and generations. Among the many treasures of the Silk Road, the lost music of the Tarim Basin stands out as a testament to the creativity and ingenuity of its people. In the heart of Central Asia, the Tarim Basin was a crossroads of civilizations where diverse cultures mingled and exchanged ideas. Among the artifacts unearthed in this region are ancient musical instruments that offer a glimpse into the sounds of the past. These instruments, crafted with remarkable skill, were more than just tools for entertainment. They were integral to rituals, celebrations, and daily life. One of the most fascinating discoveries is the lute-like instrument known as the pipa. With its pear-shaped body and delicate strings, the pipa was a favorite among Silk Road musicians. Its haunting melodies could evoke the vast deserts and towering mountains of the region, transporting listeners to distant lands. The pipa's design and craftsmanship reveal the influence of both Eastern and Western traditions, showcasing the cultural fusion that defined the Silk Road. Another remarkable find is the konghu, an ancient harp that once filled the air with its ethereal tones. The konghu's intricate design and resonant sound made it a symbol of elegance and refinement. It was often played in royal courts and religious ceremonies, adding a touch of grandeur to important events. The discovery of these instruments in the Tarim Basin highlights the region's role as a hub of musical innovation. But the music of the Tarim Basin was not just about instruments, it was also about the stories they told. Each melody carried the hopes, dreams, and struggles of the people who created them. Through music, Silk Road travelers could share their experiences, express their emotions, and connect with others in a way that transcended language barriers. The cultural significance of these instruments extends far beyond their sound. They serve as a reminder of the Silk Road's role as a bridge between civilizations, where ideas, art, and traditions flowed freely. The music of the Tarim Basin is a testament to the enduring power of creativity and the human spirit. As we listen to the echoes of these ancient melodies, we are reminded that the Silk Road was not just a path for goods, it was also a journey of the soul. And now, as we prepare to uncover the final secret of this legendary route, let's reflect on how the Silk Road's legacy continues to shape our world today. As we reach the final secret of the Silk Road, let's step back and consider the bigger picture. The Silk Road was far more than a network of trade routes. It was a living, breathing highway of ideas. From the bustling markets of Samarkand to the quiet monasteries of Dunhuang, this ancient route became a bridge for the exchange of knowledge, beliefs, and cultures that would forever change the course of history. One of the most profound legacies of the Silk Road is the spread of religions. Buddhism, for example, traveled from India to China, carried by monks and traders who shared their faith along the way. The Mogao Caves, with their stunning murals and scriptures, stand as a testament to this spiritual journey. But Buddhism wasn't alone. Christianity, Islam, Zoroastrianism, and other faiths also found their way across the Silk Road, creating a tapestry of beliefs that enriched the lives of countless people. Beyond religion, the Silk Road was a conduit for scientific and philosophical ideas. Scholars and thinkers from different cultures exchanged knowledge about astronomy, medicine, and mathematics. The works of Greek philosophers like Aristotle made their way to the East, while Chinese innovations like papermaking and gunpowder traveled westward. This cross-pollination of ideas laid the groundwork for many of the advancements we take for granted today. Art and literature also flourished along the Silk Road. The fusion of styles from different regions gave rise to unique forms of expression, from the intricate designs of Persian carpets to the poetic verses of Central Asian bards. These artistic exchanges not only entertained but also helped people understand and appreciate the diversity of the world around them. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Silk Road is its role in shaping the modern world. The connections forged along this ancient route laid the foundation for globalization long before the term even existed. The Silk Road reminds us that our world has always been interconnected and that the exchange of ideas is as vital today as it was thousands of years ago. As we conclude our journey through the secrets of the Silk Road, let's take a moment to reflect on its lasting impact. This legendary route was more than just a path for goods. It was a journey of the human spirit, a testament to the power of curiosity, creativity, and connection. The Silk Road's legacy lives on in the cultures, religions, and ideas that continue to shape our world. Thank you for joining me on this incredible adventure through the mysteries of the Silk Road. If you enjoyed uncovering these secrets, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a journey into the past. Let me know in the comments which secret fascinated you the most. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep exploring and remember, history is full of stories waiting to be discovered. As we wrap up this journey through the 30 secrets of the ancient Silk Road, it's clear that this legendary network was far more than a series of trade routes. It was a lifeline of human connection. From the lost cities like Loulan to the hidden pirate routes, from the forgotten languages of the Sogdians to the spread of Buddhism, each secret reveals a layer of history that shaped the world we know today. The Silk Road was a place where cultures collided, ideas flourished, and the impossible became possible. It was a melting pot of innovation, spirituality, and artistry, where the exchange of goods was matched only by the exchange of knowledge. The stories of the Silk Road remind us that history is not just about dates and events, it's about people. It's about the traders who braved deserts and mountains, the artisans who crafted beauty from stone and silk, and the thinkers who shared wisdom across continents. These secrets show us how interconnected our world has always been, long before the age of globalization. The Silk Road's legacy lives on in the languages we speak, the religions we practice, and the cultures we celebrate. So, what does the Silk Road mean to you? Does it inspire you to explore the unknown, to seek out connections in a world that often feels divided? Let me know in the comments which secret resonated with you the most. Was it the mystery of the lost cities, the ingenuity of the Bactrian camel, or the hidden treasures of jade and lapis lazuli? Your thoughts and reflections are what make this journey even more meaningful. If you've enjoyed uncovering these secrets, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an adventure into the past. History is full of stories waiting to be discovered, and I can't wait to explore them with you. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and remember, every road has a story. What will yours be?